this is my thing. At least we have a couple billionaires out there who are doing some really crazy shit to like
Absolutely.
further innovation. And at the very least, to me, like that's more interesting than a lot of the people who have billions of dollars who are just like super nefarious, like evil people who are just like, you know, putting children to work in
Yep.
sweatshops in China, you know? So right on, dude. Okay, well, let's flip it, freaking get into it. Why don't we just start off with you introducing yourself, where you work and what you do?
Cool. So I'm Tyler Hood. I manage the merchandise over at Austin Beerworks. I'm also the marketing assistant over here. And yeah, we just have a lot of fun. You know, we make some cool clothes. We try to have somewhat of a neutral style and a minimalist kind of style of stuff with you guys, especially BRIST, and also kind of have that just other flip of the script where it's the more crazy, wild, you know, kind of custom hats and kind of finding that balance, man, is where I've really just loved what I'm doing and very blessed just to have the Austin Beerworks, you know, company around me, to surround me, and yeah, just allow me to do what I enjoy doing, man.
Cool. And, you know, being involved in the development of like the, you know, the apparel there, prior to that, like what got you interested in apparel? What has gotten you to the point where you're at now?
Ooh, that's a great question, man. Honestly, for myself personally, obviously beer. Like I wouldn't be doing any of this without beer, because that's just been something that I fell in love with about, I don't know, shit, 7-8 years ago now, from traveling and touring. But and so really, yeah, just the beer, and then man, just honestly sneaker culture. That's something that I've always been driven to, just when it comes to small details on things. You know, it's one of my favorite things with y'all's company is just the insane amount of detail that you can go throwing on a hat like this. You know, you can do insanely nothing in one color, but you can also do a whole 20, 30 different sort of design details. And that's something from brewing beer to doing fabrics and merch nowadays, man. It's I think it's two in the same, obviously. One's a little more complicated than the other and a lot more physically demanding, but I think that when it comes to details and it comes to getting and creating an end product, they're very similar. And it's just an artistic mindset and kind of having thinking of your own roots and background, but also thinking of other people and you know what our community wants to wear and what we all can come together on, man. But yeah, like all in all, I think just really just sneaker culture and then just fashion, man. Like I've always just kind of been into wearing some stuff that's a little bit different, not kind of wearing the same thing as other people. I think that just can get boring if we're all wearing the same thing. It's always been my mentality that I want to step outside of the box on some stuff and just with my own style, but also keeping it minimalistic, you know, but crazy at the same time. So yeah, man, I guess really just sneaker culture and just hip hop culture and music culture really is kind of where I think a lot of my inspiration in sport culture, you know, 90s sports culture is another big one for myself personally. A lot of just kind of nostalgic things that obviously it's a hot thing right now in our society with nostalgia and everything, but I think that's always been there. With different generations, as we get older, we kind of twist and turn into different nostalgic generations that we can kind of base stuff on. But yeah, man.
Awesome. Right on, dude. So with the development of, you know, all that awesome, because Awesome Beerworks has like a pretty like extensive, you know, apparel line for a brewery. You know, some breweries do like, you know, the quintessential like hoodie, tee, tank top, hat. And y'all have really expanded beyond that. So can you walk me through a little bit of the process of, you know, how you guys create a cohesive line, and then also what the process looks like if you're just plugging in like a one-off product to the existing line of stuff that you guys have?
Yeah, I think for that first question, man, it's really, we like to just look at what we've already done. We've already kind of done this, but let's also think outside of the box. Like working with you guys, we're doing that, you know, tropical tuxedo thing. It's gonna be the shorts with the hat and that kind of stuff, and that's where we can, you know, have more fun. And let's do a crazy idea on this for a little bit, and that'll kind of cure that crazy fix that everyone wants to wear the loud kind of stuff. But then also be able to tone it down with you guys at Brist. Like I'm not blowing smoke up your ass talking with you over a Zoom thing. Like you guys have been just really, really just the bread and butter, as I told Kyle, man, when it comes to me being in my position and working with you guys, it's just really, really been awesome. Bouncing ideas off of, because, as I've already mentioned a handful of times, it's like having these crazy ideas coming with you guys of trying how we can meet in the middle and actually accomplish these crazy ideas and be able to manufacture them and be able to bring them to the table for customers to enjoy too. I think it's always a little bit complicated, but it's fun, man. And it's really like, I think it's the people that you're working with and the companies that you're working with that make it all great, dude. Like, you guys have just been so easy to work with. It's been so just streamlined, even in this 6 months that I've been doing this so far. It's just been so cool to see just the communication and the heart and soul, I guess, on both sides of the fence, where it's like, no, we want to make some cool stuff too, and coming with these crazy ideas of things. But yeah, so like for that first question, it's usually, what can we not do? what's out there right now that we've seen, or what's some stuff we want to see that we could have a laugh seeing somebody else in. But at the same time, it's a cool, fun merch product, And like for the other question, kind of just a simple one-off shirt. Say we need just a beer drop on a black and white T-shirt, man. That's always the easier route on that. and like in town, we've got some local guys called Industry Print Shop. That's always easy just to kind of go over there. They handle a lot of our just kind of local stuff in that vein, where it's like, hey, we need a quick turnaround. It's just really working with a local printer that we can just turn around quickly. It's just always nice, man. And that's kind of like where I have really just been blessed of working with you guys and then working with industry, because y'all have been my main two companies where it's like, cool, we can spend some time, work on some crazy ideas with you guys, do this kind of crazy merch. And then in the meantime, if you've got, smaller events coming over, I can hop over to industry, which is also, our bread and butter in town, to really knock out just some simpler designs, some other T-shirts that we'll be just having more events kind of going through. But that's been just kind of my personal niche that I've found to really just work pretty damn well so far, of having the crazy stuff with you guys and then having a more simpler stuff with my local company. And I think also, that being said, like at Austin Beerworks, man, like, no disrespect to the old Washington crowd, but we, love our local, and just love trying to stay local as possible and really just feeding that back. And so it's just been nice having these two companies to work with, man, on my end. And there are a couple other companies, obviously, that I'm not saying right now that we've been able to work with and have helped us out through the years. But on my end right now, that's kind of my bread and butter, man, when it comes to the crazy stuff with you guys, and simpler stuff with Industry Print Shop, man. And it's not overwhelming. It just seems to be a good little recipe right now, I think, for that.
Yeah, I think having the right partners is super critical. I also think that with screen print, like you were saying, man, it's so much. First of all, single color prints are really, really hot right now, and you can do a lot with just like a good white ink design on a solid piece of, whether it's a shirt or a crew neck. You find the blank that you really want. And being able to like run down the street and grab the box of stuff from the screen printer is like the best way to do it. And like you said, I think there's a lot that BRIST can do in that more custom arena, and that's the stuff that we've grown into over the years, is like really enjoying being able to take a customer's brand and just do some wild shit with it when it comes to like, whether it's a hat or a beanie, or even in the screen print realm. Or like you also mentioned, the stuff that we've done with you guys, the custom swim shorts, the custom button ups. I mean, we can just take that stuff super far, which is always like so fun to see those portfolios come through, because it's like, and that's why it's awesome. That's why we're having this conversation, is because like, like y'all have been so enthusiastic about stretching some of the boundaries of what we're capable of doing. It's also why I love that you guys are working with Kyle, because Kyle's like the account manager who's always gonna like piss off somebody because he's like, we're gonna do this thing, and they're like, okay, man.
No, I love it. And that's what it's been, dude. It's just been, it's funny being in this industry now, and like I'll talk with people, and it's like, you don't sound like you're like a businessman. I feel like I'm talking to my brother or something. It's like, dude, we're all just people, man. And that's what I love about you guys, dude. And like that relationship with Kyle, because it's like, this is what we need. This is what y'all can do. And it's really like, it would be on our end as well. It's like, cool, let's figure it out. This is going to stress some points over here, but Let's figure it out, because I feel like, y'all care about us as much as we, reciprocate that to you guys, company wise over at BRIST. And it's, yeah, dude, just nice having harmonious relationships that I feel like are much more difficult to achieve than not in this industry. And I think I'm getting pretty damn lucky right now.
It's also fun to be able to make, I mean, I feel like a truly custom hat is one of those things that when you're putting together like an apparel line, it might not be the first thing you think of. And then you're like, oh, I actually can do like, yeah, I can add on a bill rope. I can do whatever kind of closure type I want. We have all these different styles to choose from. I mean, it's one of those doors that once you open it, it's like, oh, we got to explore what's going on in here.
Completely, man. Because no, it's a lot. The options are really endless, and it just kind of depends on the folks you have behind that driver's seat, really guiding things that, not only you're going to want to wear as a designer and someone managing merchandise, but that the community is going to want to wear and want to purchase more of, and keep wanting to kind of, come back from that. Because it can't just be all tropical hats. It can't just be all just corduroys. It has to be something keeping people of interest, and I think that's just falls back into the fashion world, the brands, and the shoe world. It's like, it's easy to get burnt out on stuff, man.
Yeah,
I think.
This is kind of like a side topic, but I just remembered it, which is, and it also kind of speaks to what we talked about earlier with the partnerships, right? Y'all have your local screen printer, which is, oftentimes the best way to go. That's like where BRIST started, and which was being the local screen printer up in Bellingham, And I think what's so powerful about, what we do, and it's something that we really believe in when it comes to quality, is that when we make something with y'all, the amount of impressions that piece can get is infinite, right? And here in Dallas, where I live, I was at the St. Patrick's Day parade last week, and I saw a dude wearing an Aslan Brewery hoodie. And Aslan Brewery is up in Bellingham, and we probably made that hoodie 5 or 6 years ago when we were the local screen printer for Aslan. And now it's in Dallas, Texas, at a block party where there's like, 100,000 people. And it's just like one of those things where, if the quality's there, if the thought that enforces your brand is there, you can really do some really cool stuff, And
Absolutely.
And that's always the goal whenever we work with someone. And it's always heightened when we get the opportunity to work with a brand like you guys, where you're actually putting thought into it as well. Because there's also folks who are like, we just want logos on stuff,
Yeah. Which I get, but part of me is like, well, why are you even making merch then? And I get it because you want to be advertising, but it's like, have as much thought as you put into your beer, into your merch too, man. And I know people don't think like that, especially brewers care about just beer, but I don't know, man. There's every facet in owning a business and branding your business and promoting it, man. It's just fun, I think.
Absolutely, man. So the next part of this conversation is the display. So you all really lean into the physical sale of the product. You have this awesome brewery, a great tap house, and then you have this just ridiculous, super big retail display. So talk me through like why there was time and effort put into that, and then really, what leading principles drove kind of the design and layout of what exists today as your retail display.
So on design and layout, man, it's a little tougher for me to speak to on that because I wasn't here when that actually was getting laid out and designed. Jamie Curvan was actually the old merch gal. And I'd be remiss to not drop her name in that because I was kind of riding her coattails a little bit into this. But yeah, so the merch display, man, and it's funny too because I go back and forth on loving it and hating it because it's a long hallway, and when you walk into the brewery, as you know, there's nothing grabbing your attention over there until about a week from now because I ordered a neon sign. But there's nothing that pulls you over there right now. So it's something design wise, like I've got so many comments and so many things, but it really does work well with our tap room though, because there's a restroom on one side and there's a whole hall of merch, as you know, on the other side, man. And so that first question, my personal mentality, man, and this is just something from my own bad habits of spending too much money on clothes, is like just going into Neiman Marcus. Like I fucking love Neiman Marcus. I don't know what it is. I can barely afford stuff in there half the time, but I love Neiman Marcus. And so it's just the displays, man. There's always unique special displays over there, and it's a little bit different than you would find in like a Target or a Walmart or Kohl's or something that's just an average kind of merch place, man. That's something that like, not to say that our merch display looks anything like that. It's just something that just drives me to focus on more of a different environment, I guess, than what we're normally used to in a retail setting, and it almost provides somewhat of an experience. Like I've said, man, I've only been in this 6 months, and there's a lot of ideas and a lot of things that I want to expand on, even in that setup right now. Like it's on par right now. You know, it can be so much better. We can do a lot of things with it. And that being said, it still looks beautiful. I think, and it's still fun. But to me, it's like, man, just as much as coming into the brewery and having an experience with a beer that you love, and sitting down, and, oh man, this beer is so good because, you know, this hops, this clarity, this flavor. You know, I'm loving this experience. I want people to have that same experience with a T-shirt or a bandana or a hat or something that, you know, just really helps build that Austin Beerworks experience, man. Because you were saying, you know, anybody can just go throw a logo on a hat. We can set up a small merch display, and yeah, that's sweet. But I could go over to a friend's house and turn the TV on and watch a show. You know, there's no thought or anything put on behind it, man. So it's just on my end. It's like, how can you create more of a customer experience that one wants to draw you in there, and then just adds to the beer. You know, it's all, this is where it all starts. This is like the main focus, but it's like, how can we continue to grow our community, grow what people think of Austin Beerworks, and grow our beer, and also grow our merch and our cantina and all of our other food options too. It's like, how do you do that? And I think that it's just making a better experience for people, you know, beyond the beer.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't got to it yet, but it's one of those things I also like, just a little kid nostalgia stuff, man. Like I want to look at that kind of like, you're going into like an arcade or something, and there's kind of like low end items over here that you can purchase, and then eventually kind of set up more of a high end setting over here at Beerworks, to where the $200-300 items that are, you know, out of some of our budgets, but very much in others nowadays with the way Austin's, you know, translating. So it's like, how do we turn this crazy beer, arcade merch, nostalgia experience all into one, man? And that's kind of just where my crazy brain and whatever's going on here, and my boss Michael Graham will just kind of come together and figure some stuff out, man.
Love it, dude. Yeah, I like that you brought up arcade and Neiman Marcus. I feel like I'm getting a Neiman Marcus arcade vibe for sure.
Yeah, man.
It also kind of feels a little bit like I just went to the Dallas Fair was, you know, a handful of months ago. And I feel like when you get to like those big walls of like prizes, it kind of feels like that. Like there's
exactly.
there's like some irreverent objects that have like nostalgia wrapped in them, but you also aren't just like throwing the product everywhere. That was one of the things I really liked about your setup is there's really intentional storage and display rather than marrying the two together. I think that oftentimes can become a pitfall for folks. Other than just like deterring theft, you're trying to make this more of an item that's on display rather than just grab one of these and go.
And just to that note too, Dylan, man, it's something else, and that was kind of Graham's MO when I first started this position. It's like we want to make stuff that you want to steal. Like we want our merch. We want you to steal our merch. Don't go stealing it, please don't, because it's going to end our bottom line on some things. But that's also, you know, just part of our MO. It's like, no, we want it to be cool enough to where you want to steal it. Like, probably a pretty shitty person, you're gonna steal some stuff, but you know, just having that in that mantra and that mindset, it's like, no, dude, I want you to think about some bad actions because it's that good.
You know, I think that you're totally right in saying that it starts with a beer, but also on the other end of that coin is this interesting phenomena that we've seen in the past few years with, you know, brand apparel, where it can actually, the apparel side can actually eclipse whatever it started from. I mean, you look at like Cat, right? The like tractor company. Like
that's funny as hell you say that, because I'm not kidding. Either last night or the night before, I was having this exact same thought on that brand, Dylan. That exact same thought, because it's such a simple brand. I'll let you continue, but I was having the exact same thought on that.
Yeah, man. Well, and then even like this one I'm wearing, Liquid Death, right? Like they're a water company, and they've created this like really absurdist brand, and then support it with just a crap load of super quality apparel. And then that starts becoming the thing that people dig, which can become someone's introduction to the core, which is the product for you guys, beer.
Totally.
And again, like I feel like, you know, Awesome Beerworks is one of those clients that we have that when I look at the portfolios, I'm thinking someone might actually get this hat or this shirt or this pair of shorts as their introduction to the brand itself and to the product
Totally.
you guys offer. And I think that that's a mentality, a really healthy mentality to have when you work with a company like BRIST. And it's not for us to sell more, but it's to really get your brand to a point where that intentionality is there, where it's not just, we just want something to be on the shelf. So when someone's going to drink after they've had 3 IPAs, they're down to buy a hoodie. It's like you walk in and you're like, dude, I need that hoodie, you know?
Oh, that's what I've loved with working with you guys, dude. Is it really truly is people that you're not bullshitting. You just really want, like, let's just have some fun making some merch while we're still being with that same mind and goal of focusing around the beer. And that's what's truly been so brilliant. It's like I said, man, starting into this, I feel like I'm just really lucked out with working with you guys in the industry. It's like, I don't know what else I would ask for when it comes to custom hats, custom shirts. And honestly, man, that's one of the things. Just a heads up, though, and I only have 5% on this pad, just in case it goes down.
No worries. Yeah.
You can go over to my phone real fast. But, where I have, I don't know, man, probably 2 different merch companies reaching out every week. You know, hey, we can do this, we can do that. That I will try to be like, okay, well, what other weird stuff can you do that my guys aren't already doing right now for me, you know? Oh, I love the little cat in the back. Hell yeah. It's one of my hardest times going to work. It's letting go of my boys.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, man, sorry, I just lost that train of thought for a second. Yeah,
no stress, dude. Yeah, well, you know, given the time that you have left on the iPad, and I mean, we went through my questions, but yeah, dude, it's been, I'm glad we were able to have this conversation, and you know, it's something I want to keep an open door with as many of our clients as I can when it comes to like just chopping it up about, you know, what you guys are doing and what the goals are. Cause it's like, again, like the apparel is like, I think for a lot of, you know, product based companies, it just feels like this thing where it's like, well, we just got to check the box of making sure we have like those, like I said, those quintessential items, but it's like, that can be like such a big part of not only your revenue stream, but the exposure of your brand. And that's why I think it's so exciting that you're working at the company that you're working at. And there's the thought within the company of being like, we want to treat this like more than just a couple hats and a couple shirts.
It is, man. It's essentially a shop in a shop, you know? It's like, so how do we build it up? You know, one of my goals is like, I want to outshine the beer. That ain't never going to happen because Bill makes really damn good beer over here. But it's, you know, I want to get to that level. I want us, you know, all just keep bringing each other together in our community and our friendships and our beer relationships that we've made over here and in the industry. It's like, oh man, let's just all get better together, you know? Yeah, man.
Absolutely, dude. Well, I'm stoked to the next time we get down to Austin to visit you guys again. I know that you guys are doing some more crazy stuff with us, and it's always fun to see it in person. So.
Yeah, no, totally, dude. I was talking to Kyle yesterday, and I was like, I guess we're like wrapped with everything right now. Like, there's some stuff in the works, but would just as nice because I can sit back and let's go season number 2 right now.